Shana tovah, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. A pleasure to be here on Rosh Hashanah morning, the first day, on a beautiful day outside, a beautiful day inside. Chance for us to gather as community to do what our people have done for thousands of years, which is to pray for a good new year, to look back on our prior year and to look deeply inside of the things that we'd like to improve or change. The world needs so much repair and needs so much prayer, maybe more than ever at this time. Our people needs it, our country needs it, the state of Israel. All places need our prayer. This is our chance to come home, to be together, to use the wisdom of our tradition, indigenous wisdom, to help lift up our prayers beyond anything we ever imagined. We're going to begin this Rosh Hashanah and Shabbat with special insertions will help direct you. We rise together on page 37 in your Machzorim, the special prayer book for Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, the Machzorim, with blessings of gratitude, Birchot HaShachar.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan l'sakvi bina להבחין בין יום ובין לילה.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שעשני בצלמו.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שעשני ישראל.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שעשני בן חורי.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, פוקח עברי.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, מלביש ערומים.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, מתיר אסורים.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, זוקף כפופים.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, רוקע הארץ על המים.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שעשה לי כל צורכי.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, המכין מצעד תקווה.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, עוזי ישראל בגבורה.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, עוטר ישראל בתפארה.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, הנותן לאהב כוח.
Amen.
Remain standing, page 47, Baruch she'amar.
Baruch she'amar v'haya olam.
Baruch עושה בראשית עושה, וגוזר מקיים, ברוך מלך מסכת אביהו, ברוך שמו
יחיד כעולמים מלך משובח, ומפואר יד שמו הגדול. ברוך אתה אדוני מלך מהולל, בתשבחו.
Amen. May be seated, everyone.
We continue now on page 44 with Psalm 27. 7 lines down from the top, we focus our attention on this one verse of the psalm, Achat Sha'alti. The one thing we ask for is really to be able to sit here with ourselves, to sit here with each other, to sit here holding our gratitude, but also our grief and our sorrow and our heartache and everything. And to be able to be present and whole with things exactly as they are. Achat sha'alti met Adonai otavakesh. Achat sha'alti met Adonai otavakesh. Shivti bevet Adonai kol yemei לחזות בנועם, בנועם אדוני, ולבקר בהיכלו. לחזות בנועם, בנועם אדוני, ולבקר בהיכלו. So as we continue really just to arrive, not only physically in our seats, but for our hearts and our minds to catch up with our bodies that have landed in these seats, we chant verses from Psalms that help us access the quality of gratitude and awe that this holiday invites us to feel. And we're going to continue on page 65. Again, 7 lines down from the top. Ozi v'zimratya, vayhi li lishu'a. A lot of life is about noticing and using our own strength, Ozi, but also inviting in God's song, Zimratya. We can't do this alone. On the other hand, we also can't sit back and do nothing. And so this line from our tradition invites us to step into both the ways in which we ask for God's help and also to give us the courage and the strength and the song to lead with action. Ozi ve'zimratya Continue on page 67 with Nishmat Kol Chai. We take a deep breath, Nishima Muka. Every breath is a blessing. Every soul here is a gift. And we bring together our soul and our breath and our prayer. Page 67. Nishmat kol chai, tivarech et shimcha Adonai Eloheinu v'kol מלכנו מלא שנם ממצרים גאלתנו אדוני אלוהינו
Bottom 68.
נעלה לך ונשבחך ונפארך ונברך את שם קודשך כאמור לדוד ברכינו של עיני וחוק רמי את שם קודשו
Top 69.
האל בתעצומות עוזך הגדול בכבוד שמך הגיבור לנצח והנורא בנורותיך כיסרם ונישא שוכנן מרום וקדוש שמו וכתוב עלינו צדיקים אדוני לישרים נאווה תהילה בפי שרים תתרומם ובדברי צדיקים תתברך ולמישון חסינים תתקדש ובקרב קדושים תתעלה ובמקלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל להודות, להלל, לשבח, לפעל, לרמם, להדר, לברך, לקלס, על כל דברי שירות התשבחות, דוד בן ישי, עבדך משיחך, משתבח שמך לעד, מלכנו הגדול הקדוש. ברכות והודעות מעתה ועד עולם ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול ותשבחות אל ההודעות אדון הנפלאות הבוחר בשירי זמרה מלך אל חיי העולמים גדל והתקדש שמר אפיו אלמד יברח חירותי והמליך מלכותי בחיי הון ויום הון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה בזמן קריב אמרו אמן יהי שמר ברך לעולם ולעד יתברך וישתבח מתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתעלה שמר קודשה בריחו לילה לילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו Amen.
So we now turn to page 71 in our Machzorim. We've just concluded the early part of our davening. It's a warm-up, some psalms, as Rabbi Jenny mentioned. Now we're gathering together, all as a community, all of us here, all of us on live stream, ready to focus even more squarely on prayers like the Shema Yisrael, the oneness of God in this Rosh Hashanah. It's a calm response to the Baruch Hu with a slight bow, page 71.
Baruch Hu et Adonai mevorach
Baruch Adonai mevorach leolam be seated, everyone.
In this next couple of moments, we take time to appreciate the gift of creation, the created world of which we are a part, for the gift of light and also of darkness, of everything. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvorech choshech oseh shalom uvorech hakol Olam be'otzar chayim harot me'ofel amar v'ayim.
Continue page 73, special insertion for Shabbat. Hakol yodocha tovah mechadeh Yamim Musaf El Adonai kol masim baruch hu
Tovim mirot
Sheva תולדות לפיכך יברכו תברך שושין ושמזלת ונמסנה תברך צורנו מוקים ישתבח שלך מוקים כולם אוהבים, כולם אומרים, כולם עושים את הכל כולם קדוש, 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 page 75 קדוש, קדוש, קדוש ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו לברוך וכל יסר לשבר מחומו
אור חדש על ציון תאיר ונזכרו לנו מהרה לאורו ברוך אתה אדוני
ברוך שמו
יוצר המאורות
Amen. Page 76, חבר'ה. We take those who are wearing a talit, take the four corners of your talit together, tzitziot. We bind them as one and place them amidst your fingers. It's customary just after this prayer, we're going right into Shema Yisrael to cover your eyes because the Shema is about listening and feeling God's oneness, not seeing. Not everything in life is about using our eyes. It's about feeling the presence of God's oneness amongst us all and all humanity. We do that by binding as one as a symbol of the oneness we're striving to understand and attain. The world seems so divided. This is the oneness, the hearing of oneness. So first, the prayer of gratitude for God's love, page 76, directly into Shema Yisrael.
וקרבתנו לשמך הקדוש אל באמת להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל ביפה בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך
ושיננת בניך ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. Quietly to the top of 78. Vayim Shemot,
תשמעו אל מצותי אשר.
Continue to the top of page 80.
תהילות לאל עליון ברכו ומבורך, משה מרים ובני ישראל הכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו הורא מי כמוך בנים אדוני מי כמוך נהדר בקודש נורא תהילות עושה פלא שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד צאן ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל ובדרך נאומך יהודה וישראל גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל ברוך אתה אדוני כעד ישראל.
So have our first Amida here of Rosh Hashanah, the standing prayer. We stand before God. Once it was sacrifices of the temple, now it's the sacrifices of each one of our hearts. So we begin together, placing our feet together, facing the ark, east towards Jerusalem, Shalem. Pages 81 through 83 we'll daven together. And then we'll skip a few pages to what's called the Kiddushah, the holiest prayer, page 86. So it will guide you through that early section. After that, you're launched, spiritually launched on your own. And you know our spiel year after year? It's what's in the Machzor is very profound and deep. It talks a lot about recognizing priorities and thinking of the world, not just of ourselves, outside of ourselves, praying for things in creation and the challenges we face. But it's also don't be limited by it. Feel free to kind of maybe just even close the Machzor. Look inside your heart. Many of the prayers are right here, so close, just in a whisper. Chance for you to offer, what are your prayers this Rosh Hashanah? Looking back on your year, where is our world? Where are you? Where are your relationships? Where do we need to start doing that work of tshuva, of repentance? This is time to ask for God's help, God's insight into helping us do the change we need. So we're going to begin on pages 81 and 82 together, 83 together, and we'll guide you Kiddushah. And the rest will be silent Amida.
Baruch Eloheinu, Eloi Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Eloi Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei הבטחה פי בתפילה ובתחנונים לחלות ולחנן פני מלך מלכי המלכים ואדוני האדונים זוכרנו לחיים מלך הארץ וחיים זוכרנו לחיים מלך הארץ וחיים וחותמנו בספר החיים למעלה אלוהים חיים מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני
ברוך שמו
מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיים מתים אתה רב להושיע
ולגן חיים וחסד לחיי מתים ורחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורוב עולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומתום מלך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה מי כמוך עבר רחמים זוכר יצוריו לחיים ורחמים ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני ברוך שמו
מחיי המתים.
Amen. Continue page 86, Kedusha.
ובכן ולך תעלה קדושה כי אתה אלוהינו מלך נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום ככתוב על יד אביך וקרא זה אל זה ואמר
קדוש, 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 אדוני זרום מלוך הארץ כבודו.
אז בקול רעש גדול, אדיר וחזק, משמיעים קול, מנסים לעומת שרפים, לעומתם, ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני, ממקומך מלכנו תופיע, ותמלוך עלינו, כי מחכים אנחנו לך. מתי תמלוך בציון, בקרוב בימינו לעולם ותשכון. תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור ונצח נצחים, ועינינו תראינו מלכותך, כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך, על ידי דוד משיח צדקך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ונצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, בשבחך אלוהינו מפינו ושלם ועד, כי על מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, המלך
For those, the traditional prayers, page 88 through 91. Remember special insertions for Shabbat. But of course, take your time to close your eyes and offer your own personal prayer to the Holy One.
בספר חיים ברכה ושלום ופרנסה טובה ניזכר וניכתב לפניך אנחנו וכל עמך בית ישראל לחיים טובים ולשלום ברוך אתה אדוני
ברוך שמו
עושה
Amen. Page 94, Kaddish Shalem.
יתקדש ויקדש שמי רבה מעלמא יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכנו מיום אחד וחי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן גריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה נברך לעולם ולעולם והמיה יתברך וישתבח יתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי קודשה בריחו לעילא לעילא בכל ברכתה ושירתה ושבחתה ונחמתה ואמירן בעלמא ויאמרו אמן תתקבל סלותו ובאותו דכל ישראל קדם אבוהו מבשערה ויאמרו אמן שלום רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו והכל ישראל שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
So, Shana Tova, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. We now are ready to take out the Sefer Torah and to bring it and to feel its presence and learn from its teachings. We turn out to page 96 in our Machzorim, Ein Kamocha.
אין כמוך אלוהים אדוני ואין כמעשיך מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור אדוני מלך אדוני מלך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד אדוני עוז למו ייתן אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום אב הרחמים היטיב אוויר צונך את ציון תבנה חומות ירושלים כי לך לבד בטחנו מלך אדם ונישא אדון עולמים ויהי בנשוא אהרון ויאמר משה קומה אדוני ויפוצו אויביך וינוסו משנאיך מפניך כי בציון תצא תורה כי בציון תצא תורה ולבחר אדוני בירושלים פרעה שנתן תורה תורה פרעה שנתן תורה תורה
pride, with love, with joy. Shema Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'Norah Shema.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'Norah Shema.
Gadol Adonai iti, uneromima shemo yaftav, lecha Adonai hagedula v'hagevura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod, ki chol v'shamayim u'ba'aretz, ki chol v'shamayim u'ba'aretz, lecha Adonai hamamlacha v'yamin ha'aseh lechol erosh, lecha Adonai hagedula v'hagevura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod, ki chol v'shamayim u'ba'aretz, ki chol v'shamayim u'ba'aretz, lecha Adonai hamamlacha v'yamin ha'aseh lechol erosh. Ramemud Eloheinu v'ishtachavu l'adam raklav kadosh hu. Ramemud Eloheinu v'ishtachavu le'or kodsho, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Osei shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. Yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la. Yoseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. Yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la. Yalla yalla la la, yalla yalla la la, yalla 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 la la la, yalla yalla la la, yalla yalla la la, yalla 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 la la, yalla yalla la la, yalla la yalla
I'll introduce you real quick. So, Shana tovah, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. It is such a pleasure to see people here in person. And you can feel each other's presence and love and davening and prayers and voices. And everyone, of course, who's joining us on live stream. We are so glad you're joining us as well. We know there are people who desperately would like to be here today, but sadly are struggling with various reasons, cannot be here in person. But we feel you in our hearts as well. Shana tovah, good, sweet new year. Our custom at Beth Meyer forever has been to invite the president of our congregation, we're so grateful, our new president, Steve Katz, to offer a few words about our shul in general. But we've been, in recent times, integrating that into an introduction to the Torah portion of Rosh Hashanah as well. So we're going to turn it over to our beloved president, who are grateful has stepped up. Many of you know Steve has been involved in our board for a number of years in leadership, specifically in the area of security. So if you have any questions about that, you can talk to Steve as well. But he'll offer some words this morning of inspiration. Prepare us for the Torah reading.
Thank you, Rabbi. Before I start, I'd like to say that I've been a member here for 16 years, almost 17, and been to many high holiday services. I don't think I can think of the ruach in this room, the spirit and the kavod that everyone has brought is palpable. I mean, I really feel it. This is special, and I just wanted to say that to get started. I mean, it's beautiful. So, Shana tovah, tukah, Chag Sameach, Good Yontif, Shabbat Shalom. It's a lot. That's good. That's good. It is a great honor to have the opportunity to share a Devar Torah, a few words, maybe a little more than a few, as your president. More importantly, to be standing here by the grace of God to share this precious moment with all of you. When I was introduced as the new president of Beth Meyer back in June, I told everyone who was there and who was watching on the live stream that I don't believe in the randomness of the universe. I believe that we are here at this time and in this place for a reason. And it's up to us as individuals and as a collective to find out exactly what that is. Today's parsha is Vayera, and Vayera offers a rich territory to dive in. You know, just think of the names that we come across: Avraham, Sarah, Yitzhak, Hagar, Ishmael, Abimelech. I mean, that's a Hollywood cast of characters. And through the different stories that are woven through the parsha, and there are many, but there's a common theme through them. And the themes are renewal, continuation, and legacy. When we first come into, on chapter 21, Avraham is worried because he's been promised by God. He has a brit, a covenant with God, that from him and Sarah, our forefather and foremother, there would be a great nation, a people as numerous as the stars and as the dust of the earth. But as we know, there's a problem. Avraham and Sarah do not have any progeny. And the realities of age and biology are very apparent to them. As a matter of fact, that's why Sarah laughs when she's told that she's going to have a child. And she even says, "Look at my husband, he's so old." So that's the problem. So in the previous parsha, Lech Lecha, Avram, this is before he becomes Avraham, he calls out to Hashem. And it's interesting, this is the first time that we hear Avram speak to God. Everything else is him speaking to other human beings and God speaking to him. This is the first time he speaks out to God, and his first words are a plea. He says, "Lord God, what can you give me that I shall die childless?" The first Jew feared that he'd be the last. Spoiler alert, look around you. Didn't happen, thank God. As I said, I don't believe that we're all here, some random act of the universe. I don't believe that. Everyone here is connected to the plea that Avraham, over 3,500 years ago, made. And I want you all to think about something. Think about what got you here today. And I don't mean how you physically got here today, but how we all are here as individuals and as a group. Think of your journeys. Whether you're a Jew by choice or a Jew by birth, we all have had journeys together. Think of your families. Think of where they've come from. Think of where you've come from to bring us all to here together at this time. As Jews, I want you to think about this. There is no rational explanation for it. Every historical theory, every historical event, every economic and scientific fact says that we should not be here. Where are the Jebusites? Where are the Assyrians? Where are the Babylonians? Where are the Romans, for that matter? Our ancient contemporaries, they are not here, but guess what? We're here. I'm looking out at this beautiful crowd. We are here. There's no rational explanation for it. So don't tell me miracles don't occur. Just look around you. You're living in a miracle. Our covenant that Abraham has made with God, and we'll talk a little bit about the idea of the covenant, is something that we have to look at ourselves. Yes, it's thousands of years ago, but we have a chance to revisit and bring life to that covenant. And that's what I hope we will do. As often happens when we study Torah, sometimes a word or even a letter can send us on a deep journey of exploration, and that's what happened to me. When I first started looking at Vayera, I had a Hebrew translation, not the one in our book, and I'll make why that's a point in a second. And there was an English translation. And I noticed I was reading the Hebrew and the English, and in the Hebrew, the English version, there was one word that wasn't translated. It's the word Eshel. And if you don't know what that means, I didn't either. All right? So a quick look on Wikipedia. I don't recommend that. All you young people out there doing research and stuff, I don't recommend that. But it said it's a tree or a shrub. And I kind of figured that because when you look at the context, this is at the very end of the Parsha. Avraham is making a brit, a covenant with Abimelech, king of the Philistines. Avraham is a stranger in his land. They make a covenant together. And this covenant is not one of a king, a decree to a subjugated person or a slave. This is an agreement of equals, mutual respect, mutual interest, shared experiences that have caused them to come together for this honorable brit or covenant. So to mark that occasion, Avraham plants, and the word was Eshel. So I figured it was some kind of tree or something. I was right, but there's more to it. So when I looked up Eshel, it is, and in our translation, in your Machzor, it is translated as a tamarisk. It's the very last verse. And it is. An Eshel is a tree that is part of the tamarisk or tamarisk family. If I'm mispronouncing or getting it wrong, gardening people, you could tell me. But I want you to listen to how it's described. It's described as a hardy tree that grows in difficult, arid environments. It lives a long time. It sends out deep roots, finding resources like water that are often difficult and hidden, and where other forms of vegetation life can't find it. It's a tree that's tough. It can tolerate long periods of drought. The wood is durable and hard and was used in ancient times to build homes. It has a large canopy to shield people from the sun, and it also protects against the fierce winds that are in the desert. It also has medicinal properties. The interior of the Eshel is used for healing many ailments. The metaphor by many commentators is Israel, the house of Israel. The covenant between God and Israel is that Eshel. But when I read it, and I agree with that, but I thought of us. I thought of Beth Meyer. Think about it. We've set roots in a difficult environment. Think about this synagogue that you're sitting in had its start in the 1870s. In the South, in North Carolina, think about what life was like then, coming out of Civil War and the period of Reconstruction. It wasn't like it was great environment for Jews to start a synagogue. That's still here. That is amazing. We're tough. We're durable. We got deep roots that go all the way back not only to our founders in the 1870s, but back to the patriarchs. There's a straight line connection to that. And just as the Eshel, Beth Meyer has strong bones that we continually build on. It strengthens, heals us, and heals us and comforts us in difficult times. So what are we going to do to build and strengthen our Eshel? When we talk about safety and security, obviously that's something that's very important to me, and it's important to everybody, and it's important for everybody at the shul, especially in the times that we're in. What are we going to do? We're going to continue to lead. Beth Meyer, I am very proud of how Beth Meyer has led efforts, not just for our community, but for the entire Jewish community in Raleigh and Wake County. We are the leaders in the securing of our people and together. And I am very proud of that. And I'm proud of the work that we've done to bring all of our people together. Kol Yisrael Chavarim. We're all Israel's friends, whatever denomination. We are leading that work, and we're going to continue to do so. We're going to continue to strengthen our infrastructure, sharpen our protocols, build our skills, strengthen our partnerships. And we're not going to let our adversaries dictate to us how we live, how we gather, and how we pray. We are not going to let that happen. Everyone here has a role to play. Safety is everyone's responsibility, and thank God you all do a great job understanding situation awareness. But if you want to take the next step, you want to join our team, come find us. I will mimic the words of the great modern sage, Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. We ain't hard to find. Come see us. I think you, number one, you'll do good work, you'll make great friends, and you will provide a wonderful service for your community. I also want to say that, just quickly, I've had so many people thank us for the work that we do with security, and it's really appreciated. We really appreciate that, because it's hard work. I'm not going to lie to you about that. But I also have some people have said, meaning well, and I appreciate it over the year, hey, it's so sad that you have to do this. It's so tough you have to do this. I disagree. Think about our people's history. We are blessed that we live in a time that we have complete autonomy to take care of ourselves. That has not always been the case. I think of my grandparents and great-parents back in Ukraine, surviving state-sponsored terrorism weekly. And all they could do was beg and plead, and maybe somebody would help. But we don't have to do that. That is a blessing. We're going to continue to honor our deep roots while we embrace the future by ensuring that our organizational structure, financial health, are built for long-term growth, like the ASHO. It's long living. Speaking of our future, it's inherent upon us to ensure that we continue to offer the best Jewish education in the state to our young people in our community. These are both, and my fellow educators understand, these are challenging times in education, but it's also exciting times. We have to make our fantastic teachers and our educational leaders here at Beth Meyer have everything they need to ensure that everything for our future generations and our current members and future members. The Ashel tree thrives because it sends out deep roots to seek out those valuable, life-giving resources. And we're doing the same. And our most valuable resource is you. We need your investment and engagement. We are people that need each other. Judaism is not a faith practiced in isolation. We need you to celebrate, to educate, to pray, to mourn sometimes, to struggle, and to fight in the face of everything that tries in vain to take those things away from us. I say to our adversaries, you come up to Beth Meyer, understand this, and I mimic the words of Menachem Begin, 6th Prime Minister of Medinat Yisrael. We are not Jews with trembling knees. We are proud Jews with 3,700 years of civilized history. Beth Meyer is your connection to that history, is our connection to the infinite, everything that went before and everything yet to come. Here, we do not shrink, we do not beg, we do not bend our knee to anyone but to God Almighty, creator of heaven and earth. And that's what I call living well. And they say living well is the best revenge. So I invite you to live well by strengthening our home, our Ashel, as you bless us with your talents, God willing in the coming years, your commitment, your dedication, your time, your faith, your resources, you will be blessed. May HaKodesh Baruch Hu continue to bless, and may bless us, you and your families. In this new year, may we all go together from strength to strength as we renew ourselves in this season. And may we find the wisdom to build on the gifts of those that came before us. And Am Yirtzeh Hashem, God willing, leave an Ashel that has even deeper roots, provide stronger material to build on, expand its protective canopy to provide comfort and joy to many more, and continues to develop the greatest blessing of Beth Meyer, its people. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you all today. Shana tovah, beracha v'hatzlacha, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Shekah, Shana tovah, Steve. We are so grateful. Awesome, awesome words. To quote Deion Sanders, we're coming. That's nice. That's right. I'm already coming, all right? It's awesome. All right. Chevra, so it's a great introduction to our Torah reading. You can follow our Torah reading on page 100 in our Machzorim. Whereas we go now to move further. Now, before we move on, I just want to say, serving on the board of trustees, which we're so grateful for, serving as the president is a job that people sign up for. They're not, sometimes they're voluntold, Steve, we are grateful for you for making it happen, for taking us as you do as both an opportunity and a privilege. But we appreciate the work you put into it, and your words reflect it beautifully. Yesher koach. Awesome. So, continue our first aliyah to the Torah. We invite at this time Mayor and Bart White to come forward. We're on page 100 at the top. Vayazor v'gim v'shyasimo v'namar amen akol havu godo lelo hidno kovod la Torah yamdu Nava bat Avram v'Sara u'Binyamin ben Velva v'Sasa Rivka l'aliyah rishona Baruch shatan tol bitu shato v'atem advikim Adonai Elohechem chayim hayom.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch ata Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Vadonai, Pakadat Sarah, Kasher Amar, Vayas Adonai, L'Sarah, Kasher Diber, Vatar, Vatelet Sarah, Avraham, Ben Lizkunav, Lamoed, Asher Diberoto, Elohim. Vayikra Avraham et Shem beno hanulad lo asher yada lo Sarah Yitzchak vayamol Avraham et Yitzchak beno ben shmonat yamim kasher tzivaoto Elohim.
Awesome.
Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch ata Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Shana tovah. The second aliyah on page 100 in the middle. We call Judy for. We're holding Howard in our hearts. I know he's watching at home. He's making this aliyah with you. Tamod Yudit bat Asher Utvora aliyah shinit.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu michal ha'amim v'notan lanu et Torato. Baruch ata Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. V'yaraham b'me'at Shanah b'vahalet lo'ed Yitzchak b'no v'atomer Sarah tzechok asali Elohim kol hashamei Yitzchak li v'atomer Mi milel Abraham Enikavanim Sarah Ki aladetive liskonav Vayigdal hayelet vayigamal Vayas Avraham Mishtegadol B'yom Higamel et Yitzchak.
Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol.
Shana
Notan lanu et Torah temet v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Judy knows it from her childhood. I hear Asher's
I can't
voice.
read it. I have
It's
to listen
okay.
to it.
I hear Asher reading this. May rest in peace. Awesome. Good to say Shana Tova, Shana Tova. Shana Tova. Tov, Shana Tova. Tov, our third Aliyah, we call as our honoree in the Rabbi Abe Schoen Memorial Aliyah. We invite our teacher, Rabbi Steve Kirshner. This is given to someone with great dedication to ritual life at Beth Meyer. And Rabbi Kirshner is a colleague and a friend and a teacher to so many of us, especially our youth on the parade to B'nai Mitzvah. It's an honor to give him the third Aliyah. Yamod Moreno Arav, Simchat Davi Ben Daniel Miriam, Aliyah Shlishit, page 101.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Barak Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
So it's 100 through 101. Starts on 100 at the bottom.
Amen. Bater Sarah Ben Hagar Amitrit Asher Yaldo Avraham Mitzachik Batomer Avraham Garesh Hamahazot Viat Benah Kilo Yirash Ben Hamahazot Im Beni Im Yitzchak Vayera Hadavar Me'od Ben Avraham Al Odo Beno Vayomer Elohim. That's my place. Vayomer Elohim El Avraham Al Yera Benecha Al Hanahar V'Amatecha Kol Asher Tamarei Lecha Sarah Shema B'Kola Ki Yitzchak Yikarei Lecha Zara.
Shkachech.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Shekoach, Reb Steve. Kol hakavod. We now turn to our fourth Aliyah. We invite Graham and Keith to come forward. This can be found now on page 101. Yamdu Chaya Sarah bat Avram v'Sara v'Avram Chanan ben Chaim Pinchas v'Chavar Izel Aliyah Revi'it.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai Barak Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Barak Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'gamet ben ha'ama l'goy asimenu kizar achahu vayashkem Avraham baboker vayikach lechem v'chemat mayim vayitain el Hagar sam al shichma v'et hayeled vayishalacheha Vatelech v'teta b'midbar be'ershava v'yichlu hamayim min hachemet v'tashlech et hayeled tachat achar hasichim v'telech v'teshev la mineged harechei kim tacha v'keshet ki amara al ebemot hayaled Vateshav mineged vatisa et kolav vatev Vayishma Elohim et kol hanar vayikra malach Elohim el Hagar min hashamayim vayomer la malach Hagar al tiri ki shama Elohim el kol hanar b'asher hu sham.
Beautiful.
Baruch atah Adonai.
Sorry, we're down here, honey.
Baruch atah Adonai.
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
All right. He's done this before. I'm not worried. Okay, Shekach. Awesome. Tov, our fifth Aliyah. We invite Sadie Weiner and Zach Weinberg come forward this time for the fifth Aliyah, which you can find on page 101. Yamdu Elizabeth David Udaniela, V'Zacharia ben Shael Valevo, Vorid Laliyah Hamishit.
Hold it.
Baruch et Adonai Barak.
Baruch Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Barak Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amin, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Kumi she'ir hana'ar v'hachaziki et yadeh bo, ki l'goy gadol asimenu. Vayivkach Elohim et eineha v'teireh be'er mayim v'atelech v'timalei et achem et mayim v'tashk et hana'ar v'yehi Elohim et hana'ar v'yigdal v'yeshev b'midbar v'yehi roveh kashat v'yeshev b'midbar paran v'tikach lo imo isha me'eretz Mitzrayim.
Shekach, Richard. Beautiful. You can use your tzitzit if you want to, Zach. There you go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
So shout to the side here, Bakasha. So as our next people offering Aliyah come forward, invite all to please rise. We're going to offer a Misha Berach for Cholim. So invite Courtney, Josh to make their way up onto the bima. Yamdu Chavaseva, Bat Yisrael Rivka Chaya, Yehuda, Ben Uni Nochmev Dvora, Aliyah Shishit. So before we offer the sixth Aliyah, we'll take a moment here to hold in our hearts all those who are in need of healing. Not just those who sadly, some of them could not be here in person, who would desperately love to be here and been here for many, many years. We're holding you in our hearts, specifically those who are in need in healing. Those in our lives, some of us here. But there's also the pain that's inside our hearts, the struggle of things that not everyone sees on the outside, but we know we're going through, the sadness, the struggle. The world is so challenging, these past few years in particular, isolation. All of us have gone through struggles on the internal as well. We hold those people as well in our hearts too, even ourselves. To offer a special Misha Berach for Cholim, all those in need of healing.
May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor abracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah
continue now with our 6th Aliyah. Page 102.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu michol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Page 102.
Amen. Vayhi ba'et hahi, vayomer Avimelech, ufichol sar sivaoho, el Avraham lemor, Elohim imecha, bechol asher ata oseh. Ve'ata hishava ali ve'Elohim heina im tishkor li ulnini ulnechdi kach chesed asher asiti imecha ta'aseh imadi ve'im haaretz asher garta ba. Vayomer Avraham Anochi Shaveach Vehochiach Avraham et Avimelech Al Odot Be'er Hamayim Asher Gazelu Avdei Avimelech Vayomer Avimelech lo yadati mi asa et hadavar hazeh vegamata lo higata li vegam anochi lo shamati bilti hayom. Vayikach Avraham tzon uvakar, vayitain la Avimelech, vayichretu shenehem beri.
Shkoyach.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Good job. Good job. Beautiful. Now, Tov, the 7th Aliyah on page 102, of course. We call for this time Lee and Rod Frankel to come forward. Our Torah reader is Alyssa Rawson. Yamdu Yudit Leah, Bat Zelig Avram Vesprinza, Veruvin Roshe Ben Chaim Begoda, Lalia Shvit. So page 102 at the bottom.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayatzev Avraham et Sheva kivsot hatzon levad hein. Vayomer Avimelech el Avraham ma heina Sheva kivasot ha'ele asher hitzavta levadana. Vayomer ki et Sheva kivasot tikach miadi, ba'avor tieli le'eda ki chafarti et habe'er hazot. Okain kara lamakom hahu be'er shava ki sham nishbe'u shenehem vayichretu berit biver shava vayakam Avimelech Uvichol sar tzvaot, vayashuvu el eretz Pelishtim. Vayita eshel biver shava, vayichra asham b'shem Adonai el olam. Vayagor Avraham Be'eretz Pelishtim Yamim Rabim.
Shekach Alyssa Rakim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Good to see you on this side. We invite all to please rise now for Chatzi Kaddish. The second Sefer Torah is placed down. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shmei Rabbah v'yamad yivrach yerotei v'amlich malchutei v'ayirom v'yomechon v'ayirom et Yisrael v'agala v'bizman gari v'meru amen Yehi Shmei Rabbah v'morav le'olam v'me'amaya Yitbarak v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yirmam v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmeru reshar leila leila mikol berchata v'shirata dor v'chata v'nechemata damiran v'yimeru amen. By Brian and Lena Max come forward to lift and dress the Sefer Torah. Yamod Binyamin Chaim Ben Baruch Simcha Ubracha Esther Magbia Sefer Rishon Tamod Elana Bat Lev Rachel Golelet Sefer Rishon Velot HaTorah Asher Sam. Let's go. Israel Avi Adonai We now turn to our second Sefer Torah. We now continue with the Maftir Aliyah. I find on page 106 at the bottom. We call for it. Heather Weinstein. Ta'amod, Fegel Chava bat Avidor Shimon v'Rivka Leah la Maftira.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. Uvachodesh hashvi be'echad lachodesh mikra kodesh yehiye lachem kol melechet avodah lo ta'asu yom trua yihye lachem v'asitem olah Lereach nichoach ladonai par ben bakar echad ayil echad kevasim b'nei Shanah shiva timimim uminchatam solet bilulav hashamen Shilosha esronim lapar, shnei esronim la'ayil,
ואיסרון אחד לכבש האחד לשבעת הכבשים. וסיריזים אחד חטאת לכפר עליכם. מלבד עולת החודש ומנחתה ועולת התמיד ומנחתה ונזקיהם כמשפטם לריח ניחוח איש של אדוני.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
We rise once again to lift and dress the second Sefer Torah. Invite Brett and Robin Dorfman to come forward at this time. Yamod Binyamin ben Yisrael uBaruch Chana Hamagbiya Sefer Sheni. Slicha. תעמוד רחל בת מלך ויהודית, כוללת ספר השני. וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לבני ישראל בידו.
Every year, on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, we read the moving story of Hannah. So Hannah is beloved by her husband, Elkanah, but despite this love, Hannah is bereft because she desperately wants to have a child, and she's been unable to do so up until this point. It's a story of longing and prayers answered, sorrow and redemption. And it makes sense why we read these verses on Rosh Hashanah, a day when we are invited to notice our own longing, to open our hearts in prayer, and hopefully to begin a new year marked by the fulfillment of our hopes and dreams. But if you read the Haftarah closely, I'll tell you 3 things that you won't find anywhere in the text. Everything happens for a reason. God doesn't give you more than you can handle, and good vibes only. These are popular American aphorisms. You often see them printed on t-shirts and bumper stickers. But here's the thing, they just aren't true, at least not in my understanding of Jewish tradition. And personally, I find them super unhelpful. I do not believe that Hannah, or anyone for that matter, is infertile for a reason. Over the course of Hannah's life, she may render meaning, insight, and even blessing from this struggle. But I simply cannot accept a world in which we look at people suffering, big or small, and respond with everything happens for a reason. And there is no indication that Hannah is doled out just the right amount of suffering she can manage. Quite the opposite. It was not enough that she was infertile. Our Haftarah describes the way her husband's other wife, Penina, taunted her cruelly and made her life even more miserable. Sometimes life overwhelms us. Our difficulties mount, and it's not abundantly clear that we are going to emerge unscathed. And finally, this is hardly a good vibes only story. To the contrary, Hannah brings her misery, her upset, her sorrow, and shame to the Holy One. She doesn't limit herself to positive thinking, nor does she hold back in allowing her feelings to be felt and her prayers to be uttered. I share this here and now because I believe these phrases, none of which are particularly Jewish, do more harm than good. I would offer the following sentiments instead. They aren't as catchy, but they feel a whole lot more true. Implanted in the human soul is the capacity to derive meaning from our lives, even from our suffering. Sometimes life is more than we can handle on our own. Lean into others, lean into God, lean into the spiritual practices and wholesome habits which support you. And finally, when it comes to Jewish life, all vibes welcome. All feelings welcome, all prayers welcome. You can follow along with the Haftarah on page 108.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratza v'divrechem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Chabocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'inviei ha'emet v'tzedek.
Amen.
Vayehi ish echad min haramatayim tzofim mechar Ephraim ushmo Elkanah ben Yerocham ben Elihu ben Tohu ben Suf Ephrati velo shetei nashim shem achat Chana v'shem hashenit Penina vayehi lifnina yeladim u'chana ein yeladim. Va'ala ha'ish hahu me'iro miyamim yamima l'hishtachavot v'lisboach l'Adonai tzvaot b'shilo v'sham shnei b'nei Eli ofni u'finachas kochanim l'Adonai. Vayehi hayom vayizbach Elkanah v'natan lifnina ishto u'chol banecha uvnotecha manot u'chana iten mana achat apayim ki et chana ahev v'Adonai sagar rachma v'chiasata tzarata gam kas v'havur hara'ima ki sagar Adonai ba'ad rachma v'chen ya'aseh shana v'shana midei alota b'veit Adonai ken tachisena v'tivke v'lo tochal v'yomer lach Elkanah yisha Chana lamed tivki v'lamed lo tochli v'lamed yera levavech chalo anochi tov lach me'asara banim v'takom Chana acharei ochla v'shilo v'acharei shato le'eli hakohen yoshev al hakisei al mezuzat heichal Adonai v'hi marat nafesh v'titpalel al Adonai uvachot tivkeh v'tidor neder v'tomar Adonai Tzevaot, Imra'ot Tir'eh, Ba'oni Amatecha, Uzchartani velo tishkach et amatecha, V'natata la'amatecha zera anashim, Untativ l'Adonai kol yemei hayav, Umora lo ya'aleh al rosho, V'haya ki hirbata lehitpalel lifnei Adonai, Ve'eli shomer et picha, V'chana hi medaberet alibach, rak sefatecha naot, V'kola lo yishamea, V'yachshavecha eli l'shikora, Vayomer elecha eli, ad matai tishtakarin, Hasiri et yenech me'alayich, Vata'an chana, Vatomer lo Adoni, Isha keshat ruach anochi, V'yayin v'shechar lo shatiti, V'eshpoch et nafshi lifnei Adonai, Al titein et amatecha lifnei bat baliyal, Ki merov sihi, V'chasi dibarti ad chena, Vayan eli, Vayomer lechi l'shalom, Velochei Yisrael, Yitein et shelatech, Asher shalt meimo, Vatomer timtza shifchatecha, Chen be'enecha, Vatelech ha'isha l'darka v'tochal, Ufanecha lo yohailach od, Vayashkimu v'boker, Vayishtachavu lifnei Adonai, Vayashuvu uyavo el beitam haramata, Vayeda Elkanah et Chana Yishto, Vayizkarecha Adonai, Vayahi litkufot hayamim, Vatachar Chana vatelet ben, Vatikra et Shemo Shmuel, Ki me Adonai shiltiv, Vayahal Cha'ish Elkanah v'chol beito, Lizboach l'Adonai, et zevach hayamim ve'et nidro, V'chana lo alata, Ki amara l'isha, Ad yigamel hana'ar v'chaviotiv, V'nir'a et panei Adonai, V'yashav sham ad olam, Vayomer lach Elkanah Yisha, Asi hatov beinayich, Shevi ad gomlei choto, Ach yakem Adonai et devaro, Vateshev ha'isha v'teinek et banaha, Ad gomla oto, V'ta'alehu imach, Ka'asher gemalatu, B'farim shalosha v'efa achat kemach, V'nevel yayin, V'taviehu v'et Adonai Shiloh, V'hana'ar na'ar, V'yishchatu et hapar, V'yaviu et hana'ar el Eli, V'tomer bi Adoni, Chen nafshecha Adoni, Ani ha'isha, Hanitzevet imacha bazeh, V'hitpalel el Adonai, El hana'ar hazeh hitpalalti, V'yitein Adonai li et she'elati, Asher shalti me'imo, V'gam anochi, Hish'iltichu l'Adonai, Kol hayamim asher haya, Hu Shaul l'Adonai, V'yishtachu sham l'Adonai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol ha'olamim, tzadik b'chol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer v'yoseh, hamdaber umkayem, shekol devarav, emet v'tzedek. Ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu, v'ne'emanim devarecha, v'davar echad midvarecha, achor lo yashuv rekam, ki el melech ne'eman, v'rachaman atah, baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'ne'eman, b'chol devarav.
Amen.
Al Tzion ki hi beit hayenu v'la'aluvat nefesh toshia b'mcherav yamenu Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch B'Shemo.
Mesamech Tzion b'vanecha
Amen.
Samchenu Adonai Eloheinu b'Eliyahu hanavi avdecha Uv'malchut beit David Meshichecha b'mchera yavo v'yagel libenu Al kiso lo yeshev zar v'lo yinchelu od acherim et kevodo Ki v'shem kadshecha nishbata lo shelo yichben ero le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch B'Shemo.
Magen David
Amen.
Al haTorah v'al ha'avodah v'al ha'nivim v'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh v'al yom ha'zikaron hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha lechavod ultifaret Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umvarkim otach yitbarach shemcha b'fi kol chai tamid le'olam va'ed udvarcha emet v'kayam la'ad Baruch atah Adonai Melech al kol ha'aretz mikadesh ha'shabbat v'Yisrael v'yom ha'zikaron.
Amen. Shekoach. They're so beautifully done. Kol hakavod. We're so proud. Tov, Chevra, we turn in our Machzor at this time to page 117. We rise together on this, one of the holiest days of our year, to offer prayers for our country, the United States of America, and prayers for the state of Israel. Invite those who are honored to do so to come forward where I'm standing. I see Harvey's here. Winston Churchill once said, democracy is the worst form of government except for all of the others. And what he meant by that, prophetically, is that there is no perfect form of government. You know, government is challenged and has challenges in all ways. But democracy, this is the rabbi's drash, is the only form of government which is rooted in the biblical Torah concept of Tselem Elohim, which means that each human being is made in the image of God. Every single human being, regardless of skin color, religion, ownership of land, property, or wealth, whatever your last name is, it doesn't matter. Each person who is a citizen gets a vote. Each person before judicial system is treated supposedly the same. That's what it means to be in the image of God. That lesson, the beauty and blessing of democracy, which I believe is actually a gift from and inspired by the Holy One, is something we must pray for deeply and profoundly in this prayers, sadly, both for our own country and for the state of Israel at this time. For those of you who believe that democracy is safe and not to be concerned about wherever you sit on the political spectrum, this is not a partisan comment. This is a comment about democracy and its value. If you believe it's not at risk, then you are not paying attention. We must make a decision as Rosh Hashanah, not only to pray for democracy in our own country and pray democracy stays strong in the state of Israel, but to work and see what can we do to raise our voice to ensure that every person, regardless of who you are, whatever your name is and how much money you have, everyone is looked at as the same under our law. That has protected the Jewish community in this beautiful country for generations, and we need to guarantee it happens for generations to come. With that, we invite Harvey to come forward for the prayer for our country. Is that correct? On page 117.
When I was given this honor, Henry made me promise no political editorial. I would just like to say that my real prayer for our country is that next year at this time, at this place, we are in a better position.
Amen.
And with that, if you can all join with me so our voices will really be heard, let us say, our God
and God of our ancestors, with mercy accept our prayer on behalf of our country and its government. Pour out your blessings upon this land, upon its leader, its judges, officers, and officials who are devoted in good faith to the needs of the public. Instruct them with the laws of your Torah and help them understand your rules of justice so that peace and security, happiness and freedom will never depart from our land. We pray, Adonai, God, whose spirit is in all creatures, awaken that spirit within all the inhabitants of our land. Uproot from their hearts hatred and malice, jealousy and strife. Plant among those of different nationalities and faiths who dwell in our nation love and companionship, peace and friendship. May it therefore be your will that our land be a blessing to all who dwell on earth and cause them to dwell in friendship and freedom. Speedily fulfill the vision of your prophets. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. For all of them, from the least of them to the greatest, shall know me. And let us say, Amen.
Amen. Shekach. We appreciate it. Now I invite Danny Ambar, our new Abba this year, to come forward to offer the prayer for the state of Israel, both in Hebrew and in English, to the bottom, page 117.
אבינו שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלה, ברך את מדינת ישראל, שתהא ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו, הגן עליה בעברת חסדך, ופרס עליה סוכת שלומך, ושלח אורך ומיתך לראשיה, שריה ויועציה, ותקנם בעצי טובה מלפניך, חזק את ידי מגיני ארץ קודשנו, והנחילם אלוהינו ישועה ועטרת ניצחון תעטרם, ונתת שלום בארץ ושמחת עולם ליושביה, ונאמר אמן.
Amen.
Avinu Shebashamayim, stronghold and the redeemer of the people of Israel, bless the state of Israel, that it may be the beginning of our redemption. Shield it with your love, spread over it the shelter of your peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them, crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace and its inhabitants with lasting joy. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
Shekach. Kol hakavod. Shekach. Here we go. Machzor. Rav Amber. So we now prepare to return the Sifrei Torah back to the Ark. We are not having, of course, a shofar service given. It is Shabbat. We turn to page 121. Yehalelu.
יהללו את שם אדוני, כי נשגב שמו לבדו. הודו על ארץ ושמיים, וירם כהרן לעמו. תהילה לכל חסידיו, לבני ישראל עם גרובו. הללויה. השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, כל אדוני למים ולכבורים, אדוני על מים רבים, כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני בהדר, כל אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון, וירקידם כמו עגל, לבנון וסיריון, כמו בן רהימים. כל אדוני חוצב להבות אש, כל אדוני יכיל מדבר, יכיל אדוני מדבר קדש, כל אדוני יכול לעלות, ויחשוף ירעות ופחלו, כולו אומר כבוד, אדוני למבול ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. יא לה
You may be seated. How many Jews it takes to close an ark here? Okay, Shagah, we did it. We are excited. Before we have a little bit more of our davening and sermon, we're going to invite Carl Munt, an awesome human being, father, former member of Board of Trustees, hugely involved in the finances and fundraising and mitzvah of our synagogue, and just a leader and an outstanding runner, by the way, as well. We are so elated to have him talk a little bit about our major mitzvah opportunity, which he knows a lot about because he founded it, Open the Gates.
Shana Tovah.
Shana Tovah.
Thank you for the honor and the opportunity to speak here before you today. My name is Carl Munt. My wife Jennifer and I have been members here at Beth Meyer for the last 15 years. I'm blessed to have two daughters, Susanna, who had her bar mitzvah here in 2021, and my other daughter, Catherine, who will have her bar mitzvah this upcoming May. I'm here to highlight the upcoming Open the Gates fundraising campaign that will take place over 48 hours from Tuesday, September 19th, that's this Tuesday, at 5 p.m. until Thursday, September 21st. Open the Gates is still relatively new. This is only the 4th year of running this campaign. It was born out of the necessity of the pandemic, but Open the Gates has become so successful and integral to the operations of planning at Beth Meyer that it has become the only fundraising effort of the year. As everyone knows, dues alone do not cover all the expenses and obligations and programs that this synagogue offers. For those who have not participated in this program in the past, this is an e-fundraiser. Everyone has 48 hours. You go to a website, you log in, you make your contributions. And in the coming days, everyone should receive 2 emails announcing this campaign. Immediately following Rosh Hashanah, everyone should receive an email outlining the entire program. And then on Tuesday, when the program goes live, you will get another email with a link telling you exactly where to go.
It's a positive thing.
It's true. It's true.
All right. But in talking about the fundraiser, you know, inevitably there is some essence of a pitch or an explanation or a justification. But I really firmly believe when it comes to this synagogue, there really isn't one, because we all come here on our own and we all have our own story, our own aspect of Beth Meyer that makes it important and special to us. So the next few minutes of my speech, I just wanted to take a little bit to talk about my journey, my wife's journey, how we came to Beth Meyer, and why it has become as significant a place to us emotionally, but also the place we choose to contribute significantly financially to as well. First and foremost, I stand here because Beth Meyer Synagogue has invited me to be here and welcomed me to be here. My entire relationship with Beth Meyer, and Judaism more broadly, has always been a story of invitation and welcome. The invitation and welcome I have received from my wife Jennifer, her family, the rabbis, countless members, my teachers, my children's teachers, have all opened doors that for me have brought community, purpose, and the opportunity to explore my own spirituality. The welcome I have received alone, though, is not why I'm here today. I don't think I really got it until I started observing the impact this place had on the lives of my children. Up until the point my kids started religious school, religion was just something you practiced around a set of beliefs. Not having the privilege of growing up Jewish, encountering different religions was almost an everyday casual experience. However, in my kids, through their eyes, I began to see something entirely different. I began to see their identity being defined by their heritage. And this went far beyond simply belonging to a group. Their very essence was being formed, and their Jewish identity and the value that they found from that caught me off guard and frankly kind of blew me away. The work that the teachers, the rabbis, and the entire congregation did provided something that I could not provide as a father alone. In many ways, the story of my wife Jennifer is the opposite story. Jen grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. For those who know the area, just a couple of blocks from Forbes and Murray. Her family belonged to Tree of Life, where she was bar-mitzvahed herself. She went to public school, but still grew up in a decidedly Jewish neighborhood. Her entire pre-adult life, she was surrounded by the sights and sounds of Jewish living. As a young adult living in the cities of Washington, D.C. and Boston, even though she wasn't particularly devout or practicing, she still drew comfort from the sights and sounds of Jewish living around her. It wasn't until we moved here to Raleigh, North Carolina in the early 2000s that she really had her first crisis of identity. I mean, I know we all know how hard it is to find a Jewish deli. Trying to find self-identifying Jews in the South was a challenge she had not encountered before. We all know this too well, and the ways in which we gather and identify and are seen here in the South and in Raleigh is nothing quite like it is in many larger communities around the country. Beth Meyer then, for her, became the place where she can feel safe, draw strength from her community in the way she did when she was younger. For Jen and myself, this intersection that Beth Meyer provides in being a welcoming and inviting place for people to, one, discover Judaism for the first time, and two, to have a place to find solace and community and comfort within their own pre-existing identity, is what has moved and inspired us to give. It is with these experiences that we are proud to support Beth Meyer, its rabbis, and its leaders to support its mission. But as I said before, this is just our story. I know across this room that each of you has your own variation of this story, or maybe a completely different story, but you have that thing that makes Beth Meyer special to you. As you reflect upon your story in the coming days, I invite you to participate in Open the Gates campaign to support what matters most to you about Beth Meyer. There is no single program or single compelling need that drives what you need to do for this. Every year we all give collectively based on the conglomeration of our different values and experiences as to why Beth Meyer is important. It is these wide interests that come together and unites us to our goals and mission. Very lastly, I would also like to thank all the families that have already donated to this campaign. Those families that contributed to the seed phase of the campaign are acknowledged in the honors booklet, and you can find them in the back of that booklet. Our campaign goal is to raise $300,000, and to date we have raised over $225,000. But we need the entire community to reach the goal. As we look to complete this campaign, all gifts of all sizes are welcomed and valued. Every year, it takes the participation and work of the entire congregation to realize our goals in all aspects of synagogue life, not just financial. Whatever your contribution is, whether it be financial, spiritual, or your commitments of time, it is always appreciated. And on behalf of the entire synagogue, I thank you all very much for what you do for Beth Meyer. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Thanks, Carl.
You know, I'm so grateful to Carl for his fantastic words, and I will not take too much time to praise or embarrass. The Talmud says you shouldn't praise someone too much in front of them, but not only do I admire Carl enormously and his whole family, but you know, there's a Torah portion called Yitro, which is one of the most important ones, the whole Torah, where the Ten Commandments and the Torah is given on Mount Sinai, and it's called Yitro. It's actually named after a person who's Moses' father-in-law, who is not Hebrew, but gives Moses advice, trains him, helps him to become a great leader, and helps the whole Jewish people thrive. And this is our Yitro. You know, Carl is a person who is guaranteeing the future of the Jewish world and Jewish community, and we are incredibly grateful to you, Carl. And when this history is written someday, in addition to COVID, it'll be written that because of Carl Munt's wisdom and strength and vision, we had this brand new opportunity to do a mitzvah in a new way, and we are so grateful to him and all of you for participating in it. All right, first piece, now we get to sermon time, so I'm taking the tallis off because I got the feedback year after year that I futz around with it too much on the beamer, all right? See? The rabbi can repent. I can do a little tshuva, all right? All right, get comfortable, everybody, all right? We are so grateful to be here, and another year, another chance to celebrate, even on Shabbos. It is a blessing. There are so many faces, the old-timers, there are new people, there are new babies here. We've had like 2 brises last week. I mean, it's such a blessing. And also, of course, sadly, those who are not here, but we hold in our hearts very, very much here on Rosh Hashanah, on the beginning of the year. All right. Here's how I want to start. I want to start with a little bit of a Talmudic riddle that I'm going to ask you to put your Talmudic, Yiddish cups on, your kind of like thinking caps on, okay? And you might think this is like a crazy question. The rabbi has a hole in his head. What's he doing? Be patient, be patient, be patient. At the end, I'm going to bring it back like a good Talmudic shiur, a good lesson. Hopefully, if it goes right, you're going to catch what's going on. So check this out. I know it's Shabbat. And according to different Jewish practice, we don't blow the shofar on Shabbat. We will tomorrow. Look forward to that. But there is a passage in the Talmud, and I was reminded of this passage on our awesome Israel trip this summer. Where are my Israel peeps in the house? Yes. If I want to put a little plug in for next time we go, come with us. Oh, an amazing tour guide. His name was Josh. Actually, believe it or not, lives in Israel for many years, but was born in Wilmington, North Carolina. He was our tour guide for a local product, okay? And he reminded me of a fantastic, powerful teaching, okay? That says in the Talmud, if you blow the shofar in a barrel, in a pit, or in an underground cellar, okay? So if you are really under the ground with your shofar, okay, it sounds a little crazy and fakakta, okay? And you hear just a faint murmur, like little light sound of that shofar, did you fulfill the mitzvah of hearing the shofar? Because just to remind everybody, the mitzvah is not really to blow the shofar. It's important. You'll see it tomorrow with Seth Weinham's going to do a beautiful job, okay? But the mitzvah, the rabbis say, is actually to hear it. So if you walk past and it's really muffled and it's underground and it's in a barrel, is it enough? If you didn't hear it that clearly, do you consider yourself that's enough? Now, before I tell you what the rabbis say, that's coming at the end, all right? The first question you should say is, Rabbi, what kind of nudnik of North Raleigh is blowing a shofar in a barrel, in a pit, or in a cellar? It sounds, why are you doing that? Well, I think we know exactly why they're blowing a shofar in a pit, in the cellar, and in a barrel. Because the rabbis 2,000 years ago, God, it's giving me chills. 2,000 years ago, guess who they were worried were going to hear the blow of the shofar? Because the blow of the shofar, if you look in the Torah, the blow of the shofar was blasted, it says, when the Messiah comes someday. So the shofar will be blasted. It says, when we go to war, you should blow the shofar. And of course, on Rosh Hashanah, to repent, you should blow the shofar. And the Romans 2,000 years ago, when the Talmud was put together, all those rabbis, Hillel, Shema, etc., they were told by the Romans, you blow the shofar and you will be killed. And the rabbis went in barrels and pits and cellars to blow the shofar. So when we say anti-Semitism, hatred, sadly, threats to the Jewish people has lasted thousands of years, we know what we're talking about. But let's just bring it here today, and it's so powerful to do this after our amazing president's speech as well, right? Just in this recent time, this year, just after Carl mentioned about Jen Munt, this year, the Tree of Life killer was brought forward. And I want to make sure everyone knows this, because we have a lot of newbies who've come in the past 10, 15 years. Our predecessor on this bima to me and Rabbi Jenny was Rabbi John Perlman. Rabbi John Perlman, may he be given strength, was in the Tree of Life synagogue when the shooter came in. For the first time during the court proceedings, if you followed, he had to speak publicly about it because he'd been really resistant for understandable reasons. He was in the chapel davening, like standing up for davening, with older members with him who are kind of in charge with him, like the gabbis we have here, and he heard the shots. And so he huddled, he didn't understand even what it was. It was so shocking. He huddled people into a closet, like a storage closet we have here at the shul, while he heard people being shot, and he looked out and tried to get one more gentleman who decided to look outside the chapel to see what's going on against Rabbi Perlman's request. He said, "Come here." He went out, and he heard him get shot and killed right there. He huddled members into a closet and hid for a number of hours before eventually they were released. This is a rabbi from our synagogue who served this pulpit, Rabbi Perlman, who we should pray for, and if you know him, please send him our love and our prayers. This year in downtown Raleigh, there was a group that claimed to be the real Jews. They had a Passover Seder. You guys follow this, Michigas? Now, it's fine. Look, religion, you want to be Jewish. Zeitgesund, it's a free country. What do I care? You want to claim you're Jewish? Great. Seriously, I really, totally do not care. But their language, the reason it was so controversial and it got into the news is because they claim that others are the quote-unquote fake Jews and use kind of a violent rhetoric around it that we need to prove who's the real Jews and who's not the real Jews, which ups the ante against, we'll just say, other Jewish communities, okay? Not fun, and that's local here. Not to mention these anti-Semitic flyers, which I know have caused a lot of pain in our community, in our city, and a lot of people who are not Jewish, thank God, have stepped forward and said it's disgusting, but we couldn't get them until just Erev Rosh Hashanah. If you follow the news, wonderful neighbors in Roseville, Wake Forest, somehow they got the Ring camera to work because it was happening at night, it happened during the day. That it appears, alleged, we want to give them the court of law to respect it, but it appears that they've caught some people that were actually distributing the flyers. I don't want to get deep into the legal weeds, but it's kind of complicated. There's a free speech stuff, whatever. I know we believe in free speech, but apparently they charge them with littering, okay? That's one way to put it. There's some other four-letter words to put with littering, okay? But that's what kind of okay, we got them on littering. We'll take it. We'll take the littering, all right? Let's see where that goes. But if you looked at those things, I hope you didn't, they're disgusting. They're horrifying. And this type of language, we know, language starts with language, and the tongue's power leads to actual violence, sadly, in many cases. But I want to kind of bring this even more home a little bit, because in recent years it's come up more, and I'm feeling it more. Look, it's anecdotal, so I'm not here to say it's scientific, but I'm hearing more from both adults and also from children. Students I meet with often for B'nai Mitzvah when we talk about what it's like being Jewish in life in school. And one kid said to me, and then one recent was said to me by an adult involved in business, where he was sitting at the table, involved in some kind of discussion, and one of the people turned to him from the other side and said, "Don't try to Jew me down. Don't try to Jew me down." Now, we know that there are a lot of people out there who just don't really understand what they're saying. There's ignorance. We understand. But some people know exactly what they're saying. They know exactly what they mean. And they might even know that there are Jews in the room. And imagine what it's like for our children in school, in social pressures, how to react to that type of moment. Now, I've been here long enough in the South, okay? And I want to say I respect, there's a kind of Southern Jewish seichel, which is a kind of like a wisdom, okay? Common sense. Every time somebody does something a little stupid, doesn't mean it's all anti-Semitic and all of a sudden, God forbid, it's, World War III. I get it. And sometimes the best way to act when something comes around, is to be discerning and to be quiet and to be careful, okay? They say, you're not paranoid unless they're really out to get you, okay? So first you got to determine, are they? Are they not? But, Chevra, Moses, if not famous story in Exodus, right? He's with Pharaoh in the palace. He was given up as a baby Hebrew, but he's really raised as an Egyptian. And all of a sudden he sees out his people and he discovers my people are being oppressed. I could sit up here in the palace and watch. I could be quiet. I could kind of turn away. I could say it's not happening to me personally. It's just happening to them. And the message of the Torah is that Moses couldn't sit idly by. He had to get up. He had to get out of the palace. And he had to be with his people. And he had to defend his people. And he had to do it loudly. To quote Rabbi J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez, let's get loud. Friends, I want to tell you, this Rosh Hashanah, it's time to get loud. I'm not saying we got to go protest in the middle of, every Newton Road or Faithful Street every day. But if you're hearing things, you're seeing things, believe me, it's a privilege for me and Rabbi Jenny and our Federation leaders. We'll do it, but everybody's got to do it. Everybody's got to get loud. Respectfully, maybe even privately, try to educate. But, I say this in thinking about even, especially our kids, to be a Jew, I believe with the depth of my soul is a privilege. It's a privilege. But it is true, it is also a burden. It's a burden. It's one I didn't think we'd have to carry on and continue to educate in this way, that it's not okay to say, don't Jew me down, but apparently it is. So I'm asking you, friends, when you hear stuff like this, it's not okay to turn away. We got to be like Moshe. We got to get a little bit louder, and we have to confront it. We have to confront it. Everybody does. That's the only way it's going to potentially go down. It has to be confronted. Now, that's message Aleph. I'm getting to Bet and Gimel. What's Bet? Message Bet is, though, here's the problem. I got some in our shul, again, not a lot, but some, and some in the Jewish community in general, okay, who, live their lives and whatever. But every time there's something anti-Semitic comes up, even if, believe me, I'm telling you, it's legit. All of a sudden, you're the most Jewy Jew in the history of the Juniverse, okay? All of a sudden, you said something remotely, Jewish, let me put it in Jewish. Now, I told you I like getting loud. I'm down with the loud, okay? But here's the problem. If only time we get really fired up about being Jewish or Jewish identity or Judaism or Jewish community or JCC or whatever it is when the anti-Semites come out to get us, right? The main problem there is that is a victim's mentality. Victimhood means that I am only in response to, it's like what Steve mentioned too, in response to my adversary, I get loud. Not because of what's organic to my Jewishness, but I respond to it. And this issue on victimization, victimhood, guys, no one, I say, put it up there, peoples of the world. We could spend a lot of time being victims. If we really took every pogrom, the show of the Holocaust, the Inquisition, the Romans, the Greeks, you go down the list, you could live all the calendar of the year. We could have a day for a yard site for another Jewish community that was decimated if we wanted to. If you added the modern state of Israel, we could do terrorist attacks and wars. It'd be unending. But what's the wisdom? There is really one day of the year. You could argue two. But there's one day of the year in the summer. It's called Tisha B'Av. This is what Andrei Spakolny gives a very powerful Devar Torah about. Tisha B'Av is one of the more lesser-known holidays because it happens in the summer. Everybody's at Wrightsville Beach, I know, okay? But on Tisha B'Av is when we go and say, Oy Lanu. And we say the first temple's destroyed, the second temple's destroyed, the Inquisition, all of it, the Crusades, all of it into one day. And he says, well, why do we focus so much on one day? Now, again, we have a separate day for Yom HaShoah, so I'll say it's a slight exception. But aside from the Holocaust remembrance, everything goes in one day. We could be all days of the year. Why? Because if we did it for every single time we've been decimated, attacked, anti-Semitic things occurred into Jewish things, then all we have is a calendar of victimhood. A calendar where we don't celebrate. All we do on the calendar is remember how we were attacked. That's not a way to be Jewish. Victims are in response. Victims are not proactive. Victims are focused on their attacker. And I want to remind you, a couple years ago, I gave a sermon on Kol Nidre. I still remember some people because your responses to it. But this woman named Eva Kor, may she rest in peace, was a Holocaust survivor. In Auschwitz, she had a sister. You can Google her up. It's an unbelievable story. Mengele did, his name be erased, did experiments on her and her sister. And she started in a small town in Indiana, a Holocaust education. Some of you remember this story? And why she's so famous, or infamous, is she forgave publicly a Nazi. A Nazi came to her who was living and said, I want to be forgiven. And she decided to do it. She was roundly criticized across the world. Holocaust survivors were livid that who is she to forgive this, Nazi? So I'm going to hold that Devar Torah. You can go Google it from what I did a couple years ago. But here's the teaching relevant here. She said, the reason I'm doing it is not for him. I don't care about him. The problem is, every time I sit at my Rosh Hashanah table and I look around and I have my husband and my grandchildren and kids there, I remember my sister who was killed. That chair should have been her sitting at the table. Where are her grandchildren? Where are the other people that died? I can't celebrate Pesach because I don't think about the joy of the Passover Seder. Guess what I think about? Who is not at the table? She said, am still being victimized by the Nazis, even though they're mostly gone. I need to forgive him to take him out of my heart and take them out. I will no longer live my life in response to the Nazis. They're in here. They're renting space in here. I think that's quite profound, guys. Anti-Semites, unfortunately, they are out there. We know it. It's there. We've had enough proof. We got it. We got the message. But if we only get loud when we respond to their nourishkeit and junk, then we're giving them a win. Because they're hearing it only when we respond to them. They've gotten not just into the world, they've gotten into our head and into our heart and into our soul. So now the question, that's part B, is can't be victims about it though. We need to get loud, but not victims. So what's the M piece here? Here's Gimel. Gimel is, we got to be Jewish because we love being Jewish, okay? And I'm going to give you 2 examples of this that I think are so profound. When I started my rabbinate 23 years ago, as I said, before I had gray hair, okay, when I was younger, all right, there is a line in the Talmud that says, when a convert comes to you to seek conversion to Judaism, right? And you know, me, Rabbi Jenny, Beth Meyer, we love and welcome people who choose Judaism. It's an absolute blessing. There's no question about it. But when they come, there is a line in the Talmud that says, you must say, you are required. And I've done this many times. Witnesses have seen it. To the convert, you say, are you sure? I mean, basically the question is kind of like, have you had your head examined? Like, do you know, right? Do you realize you are choosing to join a people that's been decimated and killed and oppressed, and it's not gone well for us many times. You are choosing to make yourself more vulnerable. Like, you could live your life, it's vulnerable for other reasons, but you're choosing to put yourself at risk. Are you sure you know what you're doing? And in the early part of my rabbit, I asked that question. The first 10 years, it was like a shrug, like it was almost like it pro forma. But in the last 10 years, I asked that question, like I have like tears in my eyes. Like, what is this? I got people that won't schlep down from Wakefield, okay, to come to shul because it's too far. All my Wakefield Jews, I'm kidding with you a little bit, all right? just a little. But I got Jews going across Eastern North Carolina who put themselves at risk. And know what they say? Rabbi, it's irrelevant to me. I don't care what they say. I don't care what they do. I'm Jewish. I'm becoming Jewish. I love this people. Their junk, Nourishkeit, that's not my words, not theirs, okay? It will not affect who I am and what I do. They're irrelevant to me. And some of those anti-Semites, guys, are in the convert's own family. Think about that. But I don't care what they say. Me being Jewish has nothing to do with them. I want everybody here in the shul to walk out and say, whatever they're doing out there, don't give the anti-Semites a win. Follow our Jews by choice. It's irrelevant to what we do in here. Irrelevant. So what do? We do mitzvahs. We do Torah. We do prayer. We do community. We do loving kindness and chesed. We sit Shiva. We celebrate. We do mitzvot. We do Passover, Hanukkah. We do things together. We do our Jewish life in its fullness. And I'll tell you this great story, and we're getting towards the end, all right? So I've been saying this for a couple years, all right? And now, a number of years ago, I got a call into the office, said, Rabbi, this person wants to meet with you. Didn't recognize the name. Didn't appear to be an obvious, Jewish name. So I thought maybe it's someone, maybe it's another interfaith or something, whatever. I'm an interfaith thing. I like to talk to other priests, whatever. Comes in my office. This guy walks in. My office, it's a nice, the door, he filled the door so well. His bicep walked in before him, okay? And I'm in the office, and I'm like, yes. I still shake his hand, he shakes my hand like it's gonna fall off. Yes. What can I do for you? I'm like, what did I do wrong? So he says, Rabbi, I don't know if you know who I am. No, but I ask you please keep this kind of low because I serve as not the head coach, but I'll just say a second-tier coach on a Division I football team in the Triangle. And I was like, okay, yeah, we're here. Okay, all right, come on. Okay. I said, so what are you doing with me? Why are you here? You're not recruiting me anymore. I'm too old, okay? My kicking days are done. But that's all right. It's done. It's done. So I said, what's going on? Well, he said, Rabbi, I am Jewish. Most people don't really know that, but I am Jewish. My family on my father's side are Holocaust survivors. And I was not raised with much Jewish education because honestly the religion in my family, Rabbi, was football. On Saturday, I wasn't in shul. I was out on the gridiron. And my parents were there all the way. And I never had a bar mitzvah because we just really didn't have time for it. And I think my dad might have said to you, do you want to? And I said, no, I'd rather play football. And he was a defensive player. Say it, defensive player. And he was a big guy. And he had real potential, and he played college football. He said, now he reached the place where he's a coach. And he said to me, Rabbi, I'm a coach, and he's probably in his 30s. He said, I'm a coach, and as a coach, I recruit a lot. And the players, these are often 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old young men. Many of them are leaving home for the first time really away from their families. And I'm like a surrogate father for them. Kind of like a big brother because I'm not that much older than them, but it's kind of a father. I take care of them. I go to their parents and I say to them, I will take care of them. I drive them places. We eat together. We socialize together. We do everything together because I believe in the idea of a family concept as their coach. This is from the head coach down, but I do it with my particular part of the team. I said, okay. He said, well, that includes going to church with the players. Many of the players are religious, and the vast majority are Christian. And so they'll say to me, Coach, will you pray with me? Will you come with me to my church? Or sometimes they adapt a new church near this college, okay? Because it's near where they can play, it's convenient. And the coach sits with them. And the reason he was in my office is because the week before, one of his players, 18 years old, turns to him and says, Coach, you've come to church with us whatever number of times. You're very respectful. You're like a father to me. I've told you my life story, my problems. You're my source for everything. But, I see you're not really praying in church. You don't really seem to be praying. And the coach said, well, I'm not exactly comfortable. And I said, well, do you believe in God? And the coach said, yeah, I believe in God. And he said, well, then why aren't you praying? He said, well, because I'm not Christian, I'm Jewish. And the football player said, then why haven't I ever seen you in synagogue? And the coach said, Rabbi Eric Solomon. And what happened there is he took a class, he started studying a little bit with me, and he began on a Jewish journey. What he said to me in my office was, he said, Rabbi, the only way to find myself as a Jew really was that my grandparents were Holocaust survivors. People said, are you a Jew? I said, yes, because my grandparents were Shoah survivors. But I realized at a certain point that that's not enough. That's not enough. I need to know something about who I am, where I come from. What are my traditions? What is the indigenous wisdom of my Torah? And he started on that journey right there due to the football player. He said, it's not enough to respond to an anti-Semitic way, quote unquote, to be Jewish. I got to be Jewish on my own. And this is where I'm going to wrap up here. Famous story I love. And you've heard this one before, but I have a new twist. Some of you heard it before, a twist. Hugo Gryn. Hugo Gryn, a famous British rabbi, may rest in peace, was in Auschwitz with his father. And the famous story I've told on Hanukkah many years, because it's a very great Hanukkah teaching, but it has a little twist here, is it was Hanukkah time, and they were starving. And his father took his very meager rations and traded them in to get a couple wicks and wax to light a Hanukkah. It's a famous story. You can Google it. And his son was 14, 15. He said, Dad, are you crazy? You have a hole in your head. We're not going to light a Hanukkah in Auschwitz. We're going to get killed. And his father said a famous line to him, which he's used many times before. He said, son, you can live 3 weeks without food. We know this. 3 days without water. You can't live 3 minutes without hope. And he lit the Hanukkah. Now, what's profound about that here is in the middle of a death camp, in Hitler's face, may his name be erased, he did a mitzvah. He lit a Hanukkah. It was irrelevant of where he was. If they can do that in Auschwitz, Chevra, we can do it on Newton Road, okay? I don't care what they're doing out there, what they're doing. Oh, we're gonna blow the shofar very, very loud, okay? And I don't care what they think. The truth is, most people in this amazing city celebrate the Jewish community. The vast majority love this. They appreciate it and support it. But that small amount, they're not going to define who we are. They can't. So here's the punchline. Why did they blow the shofar in the barrel? Because they said, I don't care what the Romans think. We're blowing the shofar anyway. We're going to do a positive act of Judaism. So here's your commitment, guys. If you're sick of anti-Semitism like all of us are, then not only you got to get loud, not only going to avoid just being a victim about it, because it can't be the defining nature of who you are, you're going to say, I'm going to be more Jewish. I'm going to do more mitzvahs. I'm going to be more involved in Jewish life. I'm going to be more attendance to davening and learning the Torah, being proud. I'm going to shush people down if they say anti-Semitic slurs around me. I'm not going to be quiet and turn the other way. I'm going to step up. I'm not asking you to go step up to a Dli of super annoying, but enough of the let's be quiet and let's not, no. If they're blowing shofars in the cellar, if they're lighting Hanukkahs in Auschwitz, Hanukkahs, then we can speak up here positively in this current environment. As complicated as it is, we can speak up and do more mitzvot. Tzedakah, we do more of it. Torah learning, more of it. Prayer, more of it. That is what our people has done for millennia. In response to anti-Semites quoting the Jews by choice, it will be irrelevant. I pray in this year to come that we continue to be proud Jews and make them irrelevant to us. Shanah tovah umetuka. Chevre Musaf, we rise together on page 123 for Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkada Shemeh Rabbah Bi'alma divrach Yehutei V'yamich Malchutei V'chayechonu v'yomechonu v'chayedecho Beit Yisrael V'agala u'vizman kariv v'yimeru Amen Yehi she'irav v'vorah le'alam u'lal me'amaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalel v'yitalal shemei kudeshav le'ela le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran ve'alma ve'imeru Amen.
So, Chevre, turn to page 141 in your Machzorim for Musaf's most beautiful prayers in our tradition, Tana Tokef. Begin together as the ark is opened on page 141.
Eloi Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Eloi Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Eloi Noraim, El Elyon, Gomel, Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher, Chasdei Avot Mimeot, Umevi Goel, Livnei Vneihem Leman Shemo Bi'ava Misod Chachamim Unevonim Umelemed Dam Mevinim Eftecha Fi B'tfila U'b'tachanunim Lechalot Ulchanein Pnei Melech Malchei Amlachim V'Adonai Adonim Zochreinu Lechaim Melech Hafetz B'chaim Zochreinu Lechaim Melech Hafetz B'chaim V'chotmeinu V'chotmeinu B'sefer HaChaim Lemancha Lemancha Elohim Chaim Melech Ozer Ufokir Moshiach Umagen Baruch Atah Adonai הגיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיים מתים, מטריו להושיע. מכלכל חיים וחסד, מחיי מתים, ורחמים רבים, סומך נופלים, ורוב אבונים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומיתו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. מי כמוך אב הרחמים זוכר צוריו, לחיים ורחמים ונאמן נתן לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך שמו,
מחיי המתים.
Page 143, we turn to Unatana Tokef, famous prayers in Jewish tradition, especially Rosh Hashanah and Kippur. Ultimately emphasizes that all of our lives are not in our hands. Things can end out of our control. Our true recognition of our mortality, looking at our lives directly in the face and recognizing that life is a gift. Unatana Tokef. Let us speak of the sacred power of this day, profound and awe-inspiring. On it, your sovereignty is celebrated, and your throne from which you rule in truth is established with love. Truly, you are a judge and prosecutor, expert and witness, completing the indictment, bringing the case, and enumerating the counts. Recall all that is forgotten, and we'll open the book of remembrance, which speaks for itself. For our own hands have signed the page.
ולך תעלה קדושה, כי אתה אלוהינו מלך, ונתן תוקף קדושת היום, כי הוא נורא והיום, כי הוא נורא והיום, ותפתח את ספר הזיכרונות, ומלאו יקרא וחותם יד כל אדם בו, ובשופר גדול ייתקע, וכל דממה דקה יישמע, ומלאכים יחפזון, וכאילו רדה יוחזון, ויאמרו הנה יום הדין, הנה יום הדין, לבגוד הצבא מרום בדין, לבגוד הצבא מרום בדין, כי לא יזכו בעיניך בעתיד, וכל באי עולם יעברון לפניך, כבני אהרון, כבקרת רועד רו, מעביר צונו תחת שבטו, כן תעביר ותספור, ותמנה ותפקוד, נפש נפש כל חי, ותחתוך קצבה לכל בריאה, ותכתוב אכזר דינה, בראש השנה יקדמו, וביום צום כיפור יקדמו. כמה יעברון וכמה ימראון, מי יחיה ומי ימות, מי וקיצו ומי לא
Kippur, Ye'ademu.
Mi va'esh u'mi va'mayim, mi va'cherem u'mi va'chaya, mi va'rav u'mi va'tzama, mi va'rash u'mi va'magefa, berosh Hashanah Yikadevunu v'yom Tzom Kippur Yechademu. Mi v'chanika u'mi v'skila, mi yanuach u'mi yanuach, mi ashkit u'mi yitorav, mi yishalev u'mi yityasar, mi yani u'mi yashir, mi yushpal u'mi yarum, berosh Hashanah Yikadevunu v'yom Tzom Kippur Yechademu.
Page 144, but tshuva, tefillah, and tzedakah have the power to transform the harshness of our destiny.
Uteshuva, utefila, utzetaka, ma'avirin et roha hagezerah.
Each person's origin is dust, and each person returned to the earth having spent life seeking sustenance. Scripture compares human beings to a broken shard, withering grass, a shivered flower, a passing shadow, a fading cloud, a fleeting breeze, scattered dust, a vanishing dream. And you are the sovereign, living God, ever present. The ark is closed. We turn on to page 145 for the Kedusha.
Kisotzier serve kodesh amakdishim shimcha bakodesh dare malayim dare mata kakatuv alenu yecha vekarazel zeve'amar kadosh 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 l'nazron l'nov la'aretz kivodo malei olam משרתיו שואלים זה לזה, האם מקום כבודו לעומתם ברוך יאמרו ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו הוא יפם ברחמים ויחונם יחדים שמו ערב בבוקר בכל יום תמיד פעמיים יבוא Shema umrim, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hu Eloheinu Avinu, Hu Malkeinu, Hu Moshienu, Ve'hu Yashmienu, Berachamav Sheni Lene Kol Chai, Liot Lachem, Lelohim, Ani Adonai Elohechem. אדיר אדירנו, אדוני אדוננו, מה אדיר שמך בכל הארץ, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד, ובדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור, הללויה.
146.
לדור ודור נגיד קודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושפחך לנפיל ומשלם ועד, כי על מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, המלך הקדוש.
We now continue with silent prayer from page 146 all the way to page 154. We invite you to take your time for private prayers here, of course, in the Machzor, or just close your eyes, or for prayers from the heart. The ark is open. We continue on page 154 with the great Aleinu.
Aleinu leshabeya. Ladon hakol latit gdula liotzer bereshit shelo asanu kigoyei haratzot משפחות אדמה שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל עמונם אנחנו
Final blessing on the bottom, page 157, for remembering that God is true sovereign. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat v'Yisrael v'Yom HaZikaron.
Amen.
Continuing out with God as a source of remembrance, remembering not only our sins, but helping remind us of the best who we are and who we can be. On page 162 in the middle. You have always remembered that which has been forgotten, for there is no forgetting in your realm. So on this day, in your great mercy, remember the binding of Isaac for the sake of his descendants. Baruch atah Adonai, who remembers the covenant. Baruch atah Adonai, Zocher Habrit.
Amen.
We turn lastly to page 166. This now is our final section of the Musaf sections that deal with shofar. We would know the shofar wasn't Shabbat, but shofar also talks about improving our deeds. It's a time of calling the Messiah. It's a time of calling for peace. It's a time of calling for a better world. It's a time for calling internally in terms of our heart for tshuva. For you hear the sound of the shofar and attend to its splintered call. You are beyond compare. Baruch atah Adonai, who listens with compassion to the sounds of the splintered call of your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, shomea kol truat am Yisrael berachamim.
Amen.
This time we invite all our kohanim and leviim to get themselves ready and invite themselves to come up to the bima as soon as they're able to do so. In page 168 in just a moment. Avinu Malkeinu, remember with compassion and subdue your anger. Bring an end to pestilence, sword, and hunger, captivity, destruction, sin, oppression, plague, and calamity, every illness, misfortune, and quarrel, all kinds of danger, every evil decree, and causeless hatred. Bring an end to these for us and for all the people of your covenant. And inscribe, please God, all the people of your covenant for a good life. May all that lives thank you always and praise your name faithfully forever. God of our deliverance and help. Baruch atah Adonai, whose name is goodness, to whom praise is fitting. Baruch atah Adonai atov shimcha u'lecha na'eh lehodot.
Amen.
We now are on page 170 in our Machzorim. 160, 170 in our Machzorim. We're going to continue with the priestly blessing, as the ark is closed. Priestly blessing is the oldest section of the Torah, scholars tell us. It's the part that describes what actually happened in times of old before the temple in Jerusalem even existed, but certainly when it did. When groups of Kohanim, or the priests, and Leviim, the assistants, would bless the entire people of Israel with peace and love, specifically on the high holy days. It evolved over time with the Talmud and the rabbis, etc., how we're going to evolve this tradition, that still people who identify as Kohanim and Leviim come forward. We have identified that tradition to be beyond just going forward from male descendants, but include female descendants as well. And both of these traditions, they will be washing their hands, kind of ritually in the kitchen, and then making their way down here. When we offer this blessing, which really prays that the whole us and the world should have peace, it's a custom to place your talit over your head and not to see. Some superstitions that if you take a look at the Kohanim as they do it, if you know Spock, okay, that it might burn your eyes out. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but that's an old tradition. You should not see it happening, okay? But the idea is that you feel it. You're not looking. It's not about seeing. So much of our religion and our tradition is get beyond your seeing. Seeing is not enough. Sights can deceive you. So what you feel is what you kind of hear even, something you experience, not just something you see. And if you wish, you may wish to take your talit, for those that have a talis, to place it around someone. If you're with someone you love, you could do it together and be kind of in a little chuppah together. And if you're not with someone nearby that's with you, and perhaps someone you love is not in this world, so imagine them with you. Just imagine them with you. What would it feel like to have them under this beautiful canopy, this talit of peace and shalom? This blessing is really meant to kind of bring us beyond this world into a different place. This prayer is not about the Kohanim blessing us. The prayer is going through them. It's going through them. So we invite our Kohanim at this time to come up onto the bima. Invite those to take a moment to prepare yourself, to place the talit over your head. Invite others with you, or just people you're holding in your heart. People maybe no longer in this world. Rabbi Jenny, when the Kohanim are ready, we'll call forward the Kohanim for the bracha. Yes, you can, and the ark will be open. Exactly. Yes, yep.
Kohanim.
Kadoshecha Kamor. Amen.
Yivarechecha Adonai Ve'yishmerecha Ken yehi ratzon Yair Adonai Panav Elecha Vichuneka Ken yehi ratzon Yisav Adonai Panav Elecha V'yasem Lecha Shalom.
for a moment for our Kohanim to follow their minhag, which is to kiss each one of the Sifrei Torah. Say exit the bima. Say yasher koach to them. A beautiful bracha. The ark is closed. You may be seated. Actually, yeah. My bad. Excuse me, guys. Apologies in the year. Please stand again. We're going to open up the ark again. I got a little confused. Page 170. Hayom, hayom, hayom.
Hayom, 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 hayom.
My bad. To the Sifrei Torah. I'm getting better each year. All right. Now it's best close the ark again. Tada. As you close the ark, now you may be seated. We continue. Kaddish Shalem, page 171.
יתקדש ויקדש שם ללבן ועלמה דברי מתי וימלים לגודי החי יחנו מימי חי לך בית ישראל העגלה ובזן גרים דמרו אמן אמן השם לרבן
ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה
שמי קודשה
בריחו לעילה לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה ושמחתה ונחמתה תביא רבי עלמא ואמרו אמן תתקבל צלותון ובותון דרך ישראל אדם אבוהון דבשמיא ואמרו אמן שלום רבה משמיא וחיים עלינו ויעקב ישראל אמן הוא עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל אמרו אמן עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית שלא עשנו כארצות ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה שלא שם חלקנו כהם לגור עלינו ככל המונה ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. כן, נקווה לך,
ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר באדוני למלך על כל הארץ, היום ההוא, כי אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
May be seated. Turn to page 174. Invite those in mourning or observing a yard site on this Rosh Hashanah, whose custom is to rise. I invite you to rise for Kaddish Atel Mourners Kaddish, page 174. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shmei Rabba.
Amen.
Bi'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. בעגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו. לעילה לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו
אמן.
See everyone. Good Yontif, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Shana Tova. Sweet New Year to everyone. A few quick announcements. This will, of course, conclude our service in just a moment. We used to, before COVID, we actually would go greet you in the back, the receiving line. That is now Kutskis, okay? So we're going to wish you love from here to everybody. Of course, we look forward to seeing you at other davening opportunities, which includes tomorrow. So at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning from 9 to 9:45 in the tent, be a meditation circle. They'll take place both in the tent and on Zoom. Then 10 o'clock, our service here in the sanctuary, which includes blowing of the shofar. Should be awesome tomorrow. And then 5 p.m. in the afternoon, God willing, with beautiful weather like this, we meet just down Newton Road. There's a greenway.
Actually meet here.
Oh, we'll walk. Sorry,
Yeah,
we'll meet here and then walk together. Exactly. But if you want to park down there, because it's easier to get across if you have like handicap. You have trouble getting across. You may go. There would be police escort across the street. Exactly, a fit. As Carl mentioned beautifully, Open the Gates will start at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, September 19th. We're grateful, deeply grateful to our seed supporters, our sponsors, and of course all of our congregation. And looking just to Ped Kever Avot, honoring those who are no longer with us. Usually it's on a Sunday, but given the holiday, it's going to be on Friday, September 22nd, coming up at 11 a.m. All this is in your booklet or information online, as well as Kol Nidre and Yom Kippur. Come ready for that as well. So with that, we will wrap up here with Adon Olam, page 175.
Adon Olam Asher malach b'terem vo yetzir nivra אזי מלך שמו נקרא, ואחרי גבלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא אחד ואין שני לעם שלו להבירה, בלי ראשית בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה, והוא אלי וחי גואלי, וצור חבלי ועת צרה, והוא ניסי ומנוסי, מנת כוסי ויום וקרא, בידו אבגיר רוחי, והייתי שם והעירה, ואמרוכי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא.
The Shana Tovah Tikatevu V'Techatemu, may we all be sealed and written in the book for a good year. Shana Tovah Metuka. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Yeah.
Definitely better this year because I got a little confused. I can't read without my glasses. I can't see.